Welcome to the Other Side Pod. I'm Nadine. We're not experts, we're just humans having a human experience we think you can learn from, or relate to, or laugh at, or cry over. So hit download, dive in, and hear how folks found themselves on the other side. We're recording with Jen. Okay, not like the ultimate top favorite, because sometimes it's hard to decide, but one of your favorite places you've ever visited on either vacation or with work.
Wow, that's a hard one. But I was in Copenhagen last year
Yeah.
and I loved it. Like the way of life there is just so beautiful and everyone seems so happy that it was just very hard to not put it up there in my top places that I visited.
Good one. I haven't been, but I really want to go. And you know what I really want to do there? I just want to watch the women and the men. They dress so well.
They really do.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I want to go there with an unlimited amount of money and
Yes,
shop.
it's
Yeah.
needed.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to leave David at home. He's not invited to Copenhagen. But
But
you
you'll bring his allowance. You'll bring his
definitely.
portion of what he would spend.
Yes. And I want to buy his wardrobe there as well. Oh my God, Jen, can we do it?
Oh
Can we
my God.
go?
I've been saying, I think we should put together a group of people that go to Denmark together. It just, the way they do city building is really special. And I think we could really get a lot of tips and tricks and stuff like that because, we were at Tivoli, which is like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, but it's like the roller coasters and a theme park, right? And it's one of the oldest in the world. And you see all these women really nicely dressed in their jeans, nice shoes, their glasses, their hair like perfect with a ponytail. And I'm like, they're lining up to go on these crazy roller coasters. I'm like, are they gonna do that? Like, and their purses, right? But it just they have it set up. Like they go in, there's a little cubby at the end, so they go past the roller coaster. So they get in the roller coaster, out they go, put all their belongings, and then they go back and they're sitting all pretty. And it's just like, wow, like so elegant, you know? And it's very basic. You don't see a lot of brands like, say, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Like, you don't see a lot of that, but you can see that they're just, there's a pride in looking, and feeling really good.
And like well-made pieces. I'm all for, I don't love having a label across any of my clothes actually. Like, and sometimes when
Yeah.
I buy something, like there's a brand that I like in Newfoundland. There's this woman who makes clothes there and it's Suli. And she has a little tiny tag and I always get them to cut it off. Not because I don't want to support. I love what she makes and it's very good quality. I don't want any names on anything. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think
Okay.
there's something to that, that the quality speaks for itself, right?
Totally. Someone's going to ask you where you got it because it's like you can tell when something's well made and it's not like
Yeah.
overdone. Okay, here's the other thing I'm taking from this. I could talk to you about clothes forever. It's my favorite thing. I'm always like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to wear this, but if I was going to a theme park or something, I'd be like, oh, what if I get grease on it? Like those kind of things. And I just think we have to toss it out the window because we're here for a short time, not a long time.
Yeah.
Like who sings that? Anyway, I'm like, so when I buy something new, I often will put it on like within days, if not immediately. I'm like, I just want to wear these shoes out immediately and get a scuff mark on it or two because that's
Yeah.
what they're for, you know?
Yeah. And there's beauty to that. Like I look at the century businesses in Europe that, have been around for like over a century, and I meant to say decade, sorry. But you see how their stuff still is relevant and how people, continue shopping there and not for themselves because they already have it, but they gift whatever they bought. I've had conversations with people and they're like, oh, are they good? And they're like, Everyone in my family has one. I'm buying this as a gift. I've had one for years. And it's just like, wow, like we've become so disposable here that everything's like, oh, if it breaks, I buy it again. Well, no, let's take care of it and, not be obsessive about it. But it's okay for for it to have like that patina, right?
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait to dive into what you do because I love how you described what you like about Denmark and how it's set up. Um, so yeah, tell us who you are.
My name is Jennifer Alvarenga, and I'm the co founder of Good Story. We're a real estate team here in Ottawa that focuses on delivering remarkable experiences for our clients. And that doesn't mean that they buy a home with us and have a great experience only, but we try to stick along through their journey in real estate because we believe real estate can really propel people forward. So, we have clients that have worked with us one time, two, three, four, 8, 12. The number is so high that some people think it's not real.
You're like, who's buying 12 houses? But yeah. I met you for a hot second. I was like, I want to do everything with Jen. So
No,
I can see it.
thank you.
So when you look at how Denmark is built up versus like how Ottawa is, like what like, through your eye, explain to me what we can take from that. I love that. I love that lens.
Yeah, I think it's not that we did things wrong because at the end of the day, they started their cities when there were no cars, right? So, their streets are tighter, they're everything's more clustered, which a lot of people don't like in North America because they feel like, oh, I want my space. I want to not see my neighbor through their window. Like we have this idea of like the more the better. But I think that that creates for a very lonely society too, right?
Great.
And, when it comes to selling and buying real estate, there's a lot of psychology that goes into that and a lot of feelings, right? Especially in residential real estate. And I think that if we built our cities with a little bit more intention and putting in the forefront, like of the decision making, the feelings of joy and what people feel when they experience those spaces and those neighborhoods and those communities, I think that everyone would be happier, our local businesses would be thriving more. There's a reason why businesses over there last decades, and it's the fact that people walk everywhere, and that is something that gives joy, not because you're meeting people and there's community, but also you're keeping more active and in motion, right? So it, right? Like when you move, that you become healthier, no, even if it's just steps per day, right? Like I'm terrible at it because I'm always in my car running around from one place to another, but I do see the beauty and how you feel better when you get exercise, and when it's not like, oh, I'm going to the gym. It's a different kind of exercise, and even your mind gets a little bit of a workout there. Just walking and seeing the beauty in our city, and with everything happening in the world, we're so lucky to be able to get out of our houses and go for a walk.
Yeah. It's such a good point. I met a friend last night for dinner and he was going to a birthday party after. And I'm like, oh, do you want to drive there? And he's like, no, I actually really want to walk. I'm like, oh, yeah. He's someone who always uses the O train and he's always, and I'm like, right, I need to uh, take that or be, oh my gosh, I'm going to edit this. Perimenopause, Jen, I cannot find my words. I want to be inspired by him or
Yes,
motivated by him. I love to move and I do actually love walking, but I can easily make an excuse, especially as we were talking, when it's mid-March and it's still snowing. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to get from here to there as quick as possible. But like, am I in a better mood when I do that? No, I'm in a better mood when I get outside and walk somewhere. And the other part of that is what I love about cities in Europe, and I don't know if it's not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them. What do you call those big public spaces?
plazas.
Thank you. Mom and I, we went to Spain together a few years ago, and we sat in a plaza. We had nothing to do one day, and it was like late in the afternoon, and we just kind of sat and watched. And it was, you could just tell all these families coming out from all of these buildings that surrounded it. And it was such a community vibe. And I looked at her and I was like, maybe I would have had kids here. Like, I don't know that I wouldn't have, but
Interesting.
it looked more inviting to have children in a place like that. I'm like, it just looks more like a community affair instead of an isolating experience. And I understand that it doesn't have to be isolated, and there's a lot of really good community in North America when you have kids, and there's a lot of these groups and things set up for new mothers and fathers and people. But I don't know, there was something there that I'm like, maybe I would have done it here. It just seems, I don't know, not easier, but more engaged, more
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and you know what? I think that if our like if we're not there yet as a city, we can create it within our own spaces, right? Like we built we did an infill here in Ottawa, and in the front we decided to put these like what are they called? These the Canadian chairs. You know what I'm talking about, right?
oh, Adirondacks,
Yes,
Adirondacks, yeah.
Adirondacks. And we put them around in the front. So our front yard is pretty much a little community hub. And, in the summer, people just stop by and they chat. And, the kids are in their scooters and stuff like that. We've become big on backyards because they're private versus being at the front where you could chat with people and, learn things and, experience joy through others if you're not having a good day and stuff like that. And so I think it's something that it's a mindset that we have to change. And we've been working on it as we've gotten inspired by others.
Love that. It's I grew up in Newfoundland, as I'm sure if you've ever heard anything about me. One of my friends is like, no one talks about Newfoundland as much as you. I'm like, I can't help myself. Anyway, I grew up in Newfoundland, and my childhood home has a big veranda on the front of it, and that's where we always sat. We had a backyard, we just hardly used it. And I think this is the first time I'm realizing why, because you see your neighbors. We were always out there gathered, chatting, and then people would come visit, and yeah, we just like put more chairs out on that front veranda because it fit a lot. And then in the nights in the summer, I can just see my parents out there having whatever, a drink or a cup of tea or whatever in the world. And it just makes me feel so at home, so like safe and grounded. And so I've always said to David, like, I want to find somewhere with, yeah, that front area space, like a front veranda where I can just sit and see my neighbors. And I used to have that actually in a place that you're selling. I noticed yesterday, a place on Villa. I used to live on Villa. Yeah, when I met David, he lived on Villa and I moved in with him. And there was a little front step. And my dog at the time he was only like three or maybe he was 4 or 5 when I moved in. But he was such a good dog. Like he never went on the street. He wouldn't leave my side, no matter if a dog walked by. So Parker and I would sit out there in an Adirondack chair that my father-in-law made. I mean, so sweet. And
Oh,
that's where I had my coffee every morning because I wanted to see my neighbor walking by. It's the only way we get to know each other, you know?
yeah.
So
And that's a beautiful street. It's like
it's
you're in a
special.
central area, easy commute anywhere. You have nature around you, right? Like, so
Oh
it's really
yeah.
nice.
I saw how you told the story of that couple selling their house on Villa, and you said it's like if you want a cottage, but you also want to live in the city. And it's so true
Yeah.
because you have like the canal running in the backyard. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
gorgeous street. I'm sure by the time this comes out, that place will be sold. But in case
I,
it's
I think
not,
I think it came up because it was a testimonial video.
oh, it's not for sale. Got it.
And it's not for sale. We sold it and we used that to sell it. Like just said, it's a cottage within the city. But they sold it and that was their story, sharing their experience with the team.
To real estate. Tell me how you got into this.
Yeah. So I came here as an international student and my goal was to go back home and work for the family being my parents. My parents started from very little and they worked their way up through their business in telecom. My dad studied in Brazil and brought pretty much knowledge that no one else had in the country. And that
Wait, what
helped him.
country? Where's
He
home?
studied in Brazil and he came back to Honduras. So Brazil was years ahead in telecom and Honduras was just kind of getting there. So he was hired and so forth. And eventually like there was just so much corruption that he said, you know what, I'm opening my own company, you can hire me. And he pretty much became hired by the company as a company instead of as an individual. And then that created opportunities and he grew through that and put the money. My mom used to run everything, and then my dad obviously had the knowledge and all that. So they complemented each other really well, which is funny because Leo and I, my husband, complement each other really well. We're like business partners and life partners as well. But then they got into real estate with the proceeds of their careers, right? And when I was like 10, 12 years old, like they're starting investing and, things were getting better for them, they never really made us feel like we were better off, which I think like, oh, why would you never? I used to think we were so poor, because they would only talk about mortgages and the table. And, it makes sense now because as a business owner, you have so many responsibilities, liabilities, and all this. And you're like, I got to make that payment. I got to make that loan. Got to make that mortgage payment. So that's all I heard in my head. We were always like, underwater. But I think it created a fire in me, and it made me very hardworking and gave me that work ethic that they had. So when I came here, I really wanted to buy a car because I was freezing. You know, I hadn't embraced the winter. I didn't want to ride the white and red limo, and so I said to my dad, like maybe I can, get a car, get a loan to get a car, and so instead of getting a car, I said maybe I should buy a place. And to be honest, it wasn't because I wanted a place more than a car. It was more like, oh, I know my dad. I know that cars depreciate. I know how he thinks. He's very long term, right? And I said, what if I buy a place instead? And he's like, oh, smart. So I did that and I got into real estate. I got a place I shouldn't have. It had baseboard heating. I'm from Honduras, so not a good combination, but it taught me a lot. It was home for a while, and eventually I got into new construction condos. I bought one, did really well with the proceeds of that, bought another one. Then my brother came along. We started buying, real estate together, and then got into our first multi-unit in the Glebe. We did really good with that one. So, it's those baby steps that you need to take to get ahead, right? And luckily we had amazing mentors. I had an incredible mortgage broker that like really believed in us and helped us with the lenders to get funding. And she's like, they won't lose this place, I promise. And we worked really hard and tried to make it work with whatever we had. I had a real estate mentor as well. I had a lawyer mentor as well, and I've just been very lucky with people, I think. And with my mentor, the real estate agent, I met him for dinner, and sadly he passed this weekend. But it's so timely for
So
me to talk
sorry.
about him. Yeah, because he was just like a firecracker, and he's like, just get your license. I came and worked in his office to help him kind of get more structured and stuff. Every realtor needs that when they get busy, just people that help them, keep things moving and in the right direction and with less chaos because there's so many moving parts. But he said, just become an agent. Like you'd be so good at it. And I just thought it's such an industry that has such a bad reputation. I just don't want to be in there. But then he made it seem like, Jen, you could be the difference. You could be the light in the dark space, and that changed that perspective in my head. And I'm like, okay, let's do this.
What's the bad rap in real estate?
That, we're very commission driven as an industry, that, it doesn't matter what clients buy. Like, it's just as long as we get a sale, like that kind of reputation that follows us has been really hard to break through. And it's taken a lot of time. Like, I would say that we're lucky as a team now to be positioned differently. We've created enough good stories that, people send us business, and some people will say, like, you have to call them. Like, it's not a matter of like, call them. You have to call them. And it's just so nice, because, past clients or friends really want their friends and their people to have a good experience and to be able to use real estate as a tool to get ahead, because it can be more than just a home if you do it right, and you make your money in the purchase, you make your money in the buy. So that's when your journey typically starts as a person. You buy first, right? And if you do it right, you can really get ahead with it.
So your first purchase, you came here to go to school. What did you study?
I struggled in university. I was in university for more years than I should have, and I didn't finish. I then moved to Algonquin and I studied business entrepreneurship. I had fantastic teachers there too. Like maybe because I was a little bit more mature, so I connected with them a little bit more. I'm still friends with a few of them. And then I did marketing after. Again, I had to go back to university in order to remain in Canada legally. And that's when my team came up. Like that's when we started forming a team because my husband had to step in as a realtor. At the same time, he was starting a food truck. And then we have Shadi, who's another agent in our team. He's fantastic, and he was just helping us with marketing and back end stuff. And now he's an incredible agent. But like, I had to go back to university. They had to take over, and the only thing I was doing was showing houses when they couldn't, and I had to, and I had the time. And I negotiated deals. So I sometimes would be in class and stepping out and calling and dealing with agents and stuff like that.
Wait, you after you got your real estate license and started a company and started Good Story, you had to go back into university.
So I was Gen the agent as of 2011. When you finish university or college, they give you 2 to 3 years to do a career. And with that career, if it's applicable, you're able to get your PR, your permanent residency to remain in Canada. I did real estate as a real estate agent, which was applicable, but you had to be employed and salaried. I was self employed and commissioned. So I didn't read the
Student.
fine print. And when I
Mm-hmm.
went to apply, I didn't have enough points. So the only thing I could do was go back home or remain here. And the only way was as a student. I couldn't get a work visa. I couldn't do anything. And I was dating Leo by then. So that's the reason I wanted to stay. So I went back to university. I said, well, if you go back to university, you're able to work part time legally, and then I'll get another career. And they had to step in. So they stepped in. We slapped a name on our team. It was the Real Estate and Co. So we went from
Okay.
being Jen the agent to Real Estate and Co. because it was a word I had trademarked in 2012 because people were like, "What are you doing?" I was in school and in business, and I was always with real estate books. So I'm like, "Oh."
Cool.
Eventually, I started saying, "I'm real estating," and then they would say to me, "Oh, what are you up to? You're real estating?" And I'm like, "Oh, this word is, kicking in." So I trademarked it, and we were a real estating co. But during COVID, the name was really hard to pronounce. Google didn't like us because it was a made up word. During COVID, when we were dealing with multiple offers, a lot of people would put .com to send us an offer. And we would never get it because we didn't own that domain. We owned the .co. And that guy wanting to sell us the .com wanted an arm and a leg. We're like, that's crazy. We don't even love the name that much. So we hired a team. I don't know if you know them. They're Godspeed, Thomas Cumberbatch here in Ottawa. And they do fantastic work. And talk about referrals. Someone that had worked with them said to me, you can't afford not to work with them.
Whoa.
Right? Talk about a
Called
referral.
Godspeed?
Yeah,
I love
Godspeed.
that.
They're on Bank Street,
Okay.
and Thomas is fantastic. We sat down. He interviewed us. He interviewed a bunch of our clients. We did one round of proposal names. Like that was our first step to figure out our name. And when we were sitting there, we looked at the names he gave us and they were good, but they weren't like, oh, they speak to us, right? And then he's like, guys, I have your name. Your name is Good Story. It's the common denominator of every conversation I had with your clients. And we were like, yes. And we couldn't believe that the domain.ca was available. Like it was just like, it was God sent. And so that's when we became Good Story. And, our goal is just to, transform the way people see our industry and, journey through real estate one story at a time.
So, from all of that, how did you end up getting your permanent residency? What step? Were they like, yes, you've met it
So
all the
I had more
requirements?
points after my second career,
Got
and
you.
once after my second program. But I also was pregnant at that point. I had already gotten married, like so. It was through Leo as sponsorship. It was the fastest way. But it took me through a roller coaster. I don't think I've gotten as stressed ever as I did during that period of time.
You've been over here in Canada, in Ottawa, you've set up a life, you've started a company, you're so busy, you've got people hired to work, and then it's like, well, you need to actually like read the fine print because maybe you need to go back to Honduras. That is terrifying. You know, not because you need to
Yeah.
go back home, but because you'd met someone, like you really did start your life here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
I by then I was more from here than from back home. Like when I went back home, I would say, "Oh, I'm heading home in 2 days," like returning to Canada. So it's really interesting how you lay roots without sometimes even realizing. And
agree.
funny enough, when I was doing my second program, I got called into CBSA, like that Border Services Patrol office. And I was like, oh God, I'm getting deported for sure. And the officer sat me down and he had all my life there. He had my CV, like my LinkedIn, my website, my grades. He had everything printed. And I'm like, oh, for sure, I'm getting deported. And and I just thought maybe I've extended my time here. And he said, Jen, I'm calling you in because typically I would go and look for you at your office, and surprise you. But you're the type of people we want in Canada. So I just want to remind you to keep up your grades. And the reason you're allowed to be here is your schooling. So don't neglect that for the other stuff.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, I was not expecting him to say that to me. But I was like almost tearing up and everything. And he's like, I know you employ people. I know that you're doing something phenomenal. Just keep up your grades.
Mm.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, first year as a real estate agent, how was that?
Oh, it was so hard. It was so hard. I had this mentor, Sal, and and he was so good to me. God bless his soul. Like he really mentored me. And what I loved about real estate through him, and what made me register, because I had done my courses, because I was investing in real estate since 2005. In 2009, I started doing my courses because my mom's like, just do your courses. I kept complaining about realtors not calling me back. And I was frustrated. And she's like, just do your courses, and then you depend less on them, right? And my parents are very solution oriented. They have a problem, they'll figure it out. So she said that to me. I started my courses, and then I pretty much could register once I finished anytime. And he was the one that convinced me to register, not because he pushed me to do it, but because of how he took care of his clients. And they're doing a celebration of life for him probably in the coming week or so. And that place will probably be packed because he was just so good to his clients. Like clients would sign without looking at the contract. And I'm like, do you want to read that? Like, let's cross the T's, like, and there was so much trust for him. And that was really special to see because in my head, it was different. Like people were always looking out for themselves, even with their own advisor, right? So to see how he had these relationships with people and how they've worked with him plenty of times as well. He's helped a lot of people grow through real estate. It was just really special to see. And I'm like, okay, I can be the difference too.
How did you meet him?
I met him through my mortgage broker. She invited
Okay.
us for dinner together. We went out for dinner, and she said to him, "You should hire her," because I wasn't taking a lot of classes that semester, and I was not that busy. And she said, "You should hire him. Like, send me your CV." Yeah,
And okay, when you bought your first place, where was it?
it was near Billings Bridge, close to Carleton
And
University.
you said it was a mistake because it's baseboard heating, and I know how expensive that is because in Newfoundland there's a lot of baseboard heating. And is that where you learned that lesson? You're like, holy shit, yeah, right, the heating
Yeah,
bills.
yeah,
And
and
so
it's just a lesson of listening, right? Listen and ask questions. Be curious. Where's your client from? What do they like to do? What's the best place that's gonna make them feel good and elevate their life, right?
instead of just like, oh, Jen, this is her budget. She's willing to live anywhere in the city. She's not that familiar with it. She's been in school and like had a small, I don't know, maybe footprint in the city. Let's throw her here. And then you get there and you don't like it. So you're like,
Mhm.
I want to do something different.
Yeah, I
Jen,
started enjoying Canada when I moved downtown and I went to university at Carleton because that was more vibrant, and my culture is very vibrant, right? Like,
okay. How many? places have you bought and sold? You, Jen, not like for clients. I want to know how many you,
Oh,
Jen.
okay. So I've lived since I've been born in 16 places, just to give you an idea. And I've only lived in two houses in Honduras. So I've moved around. Leo and I started investing together as well, and bought lots because he's really into development. Like we're really passionate about, kind of targeting that missing middle that we have in our city. And so we've bought lots that we have homes that we rent out. And eventually we want to build stuff that, kind of addresses that gap that we're seeing in the city.
Like what? What do you want to build? I'm so intrigued by you and your brain. I'm like, you've bought
No.
lots? Like I do not think like this. This is amazing.
But you know what? My dad was really poor. My grandfather was a Coca-Cola driver. So we laugh because I used to take Coca-Cola in my baby bottles, you know.
You did.
But yeah, not good for my health. But he was a Coca-Cola driver, and being a Coca-Cola employee was really good in the sense that there was opportunities and opportunities for your children. My dad got a scholarship since he was in school because he was such a brilliant kid. And my grandfather used that money to lend it out and make money from it, right? And then when my dad went got a scholarship to go to Brazil to study, you know, he had a scholarship from the Coca-Cola company. And so these things allowed him to get a better education, which allowed him to give us a life different than the one he had, right? Like he didn't even want to go to his graduation because he didn't have clothing and his shoes were ripped, right? Like poor. So we didn't go through that, right? And it's just beautiful to see how every generation is improving itself. And for us, if it weren't for real estate, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
And you saw that industry, I suppose, sitting at the kitchen table with your mom and dad, right? Because they invested in Honduras and it. Okay, but when you came here, you thought, I'm going to come here, get my education, and go back home and work with my mom and dad or for my mom and dad.
Yeah. So I started working for my parents when I was 12. My dad and my mom
Oh my God,
were
I love this.
participating in tenders for the government to do projects, but my parents don't speak English. So I was the translator. My brother was the translator, you know? And when you're doing tenders, it's very delicate back home because, like it's such a poor country that someone will say, "Hey, give me the number and I'll pay you X amount." And with that number, they beat you, right? So my dad needed people that he could trust. And that was myself and my brother. So we were like a group of maybe six, my parents, maybe two employees, and my brother and I. And we would take turns to go sleep. He'd be like, "Okay, you can sleep up until 3 a.m. At 3 a.m., I need you back," because we were in tender period, right? And Siemens, which is a big company, partnered up with my parents to do a project that pretty much connected Honduras, Belize, and Guatemala with the internet, with the fiber optic. That was a big project. Like it really helped them, get ahead. And it needed a lot of confidentiality, right? Like a company like Siemens is trusting you to be their partner, right? So, anyways, they got it. It was a long period, a lot of work. My dad was traveling all the time, but that's when I first got my laptop. I was 12, and it wasn't because I was the coolest kid in the block. It was because I became my dad's assistant.
This like set you on fire from a very early age in a really great way. Like this like drive that like almost comes from your DNA, really. Like I can see it in you. I can feel it across the screen.
No, I
Oh,
didn't realize that though. I resented it a lot when I was that age because I saw my
fair.
friends going to the country club to play tennis because I went to a private school. My parents made a sacrifice to put us in a really good school because my dad believes a lot in education, right? So I went to a private school and my friends were different. They came from money or generational money, and they had the weekends to go to the pool, go to play golf. One of them was an excellent golfer. I always joke when I'm golfing here because I'm terrible at it. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have gone with her and not race the go karts instead of watching, right? Because the few times I did go, I would go race the go karts with my other friends.
You're amazing. Okay, back to the lots. What are you building on a lot? Tell me. What is
Ah,
you have this idea for how the city can be. Is it super secret or can you tell me one idea? And I get it if
no,
you're
it's
like,
not.
no.
It's not super secretive, but there's a few ideas that we've been floating around and stuff like that in the gap we're seeing. But it's within multi units, right? Having people like if you go to Europe, you see a lot of 6 unit buildings that you're just walking through them, commercial at the bottom, right? And then you have people living upstairs, right? Like I think we have this way of thinking in our city that it's not in my backyard, right? I don't mind the city becoming better and more connected, but you're not building a big building behind me, right? And I think there's ways of doing things in a way that they still fit the fabric of the neighborhood. So that's always the challenge because the math doesn't match many times. So when we're taking on a project, it's such a balancing act of building what you want to build, building with the quality you want to build, and also making the math work, right? We rebuilt a house in Westboro. I'll send it to you so you can see it, but it's 5 Ladder, and we were supposed to spend $200,000 renovating it, and we ended up spending almost 250. And one of the biggest thing with us is that we'll never deviate from what we believe in, and we would never sell something that we couldn't stand behind. Our name says good. I cannot
Mm,
sell you a bad home. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, we rebuilt it, spent a lot more than we were planning or should have. But we got a letter from the owner the other day because he opened a bunch of mail by mistake, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I was opening the mail frantically, and I opened yours. By the way, still loving the home." And for us, that's like, oh, we love it, like, and we try to make our listings from other clients to create that feeling when people are buying them, because that's what's going to make someone want to pay them more, which will put our sellers ahead, but also will give that buyer a better home, right?
So is it like right now, there's always like what, a buyer or a seller's market? What is it right now in Ottawa?
I would say it's micro markets right now. So there's markets that are very sellers markets. And then there's other neighborhoods that, it's taking more time. You could say it's more balanced. And then there's obviously the condo market that is a buyer's market.
Right. What is happening with Zibby? Like
Oh,
I
that
walk
that's
by it a lot and I'm like,
yeah,
this could be when I hear you explain what you want and what you see for the city, I'm like, Zippy could be that. And I don't know why it's like stalled on itself. And
yeah.
that's what it seems. I don't know the insides of it, so I could be seeing the wrong thing, but I don't know. Do you have
City
any
is such
insight?
an interesting and a special project because it took a lot to build that. I will tell you, like, I can't even imagine and we build at a smaller scale, right? But I can't even imagine having to deal with 3 levels of government to put something together, like, um, eh, but I think Zibi will come to life the way it should once the stadium is there. That's going to be a special area. I think Hintonburg will, be so much fun than what it is already. Same with Preston. Like the library is gonna get finished soon, right? Like,
Beautiful.
but I think it's a shift in mindset from us as the people of Ottawa that we need to come out and support these places. Because why are these people spending and investing so much? Why are our governments spending so many billions and creating all these spaces and we're not going to them, right?
Because it's gorgeous. And the commercial space underneath, I'm like, I just want to have a business so I can put it there. This is beautiful and right on the water. And then with Blues Fest in the summer and the War Museum, I'm like, this is a gorgeous area. I'm so confused why it's not. like why there's not a waiting list to either go in there as a commercial business or go in there as a homeowner or someone who wants to,
Yeah.
gosh.
I'm
Anyway,
excited for it to get to that point because that's the way it should be, right?
yeah,
But
it's
it needs
beautiful.
us. It needs us. And I was having a dilemma, not a dilemma, debate with someone the other day on Instagram because I posted about this, cobbler that is closing his doors, like he was pretty much asked to sign a 5-year lease. And he's like, Jen, I wanted to retire in two. So, I'm closing up and I'm like, oh, my heart broke. I'm like, you're the best in town. Who am I going to go to now? But what broke my heart really was the fact that he was feeling that way, instead of passing it on to someone else and feeling like, wow, all this work I did, now I get to give it to someone else. And, this is my chapter. This is where my chapter closes and it's someone else's now. But no, he closed his entire book. You know what I mean? His entire life and when I posted about it, I was reading a bunch of messages from people I didn't even know on LinkedIn and stuff about, oh my God, like he used to be on Westboro and he used to be so friendly and he would always wave hello to me and my children when I was going by to drop them off at school. And, all these comments were like, oh, like, come on, people, like we got to show up for these people, and
Yeah.
and you've had a local business, right? Like you depend on the people, and sometimes we don't realize how our hard earned money should go to people that really value that hard earned money, right? We just spend without thinking sometimes, and it's not purposeful, it's not intentional.
It's why it infuriates me when I see a million Amazon packages on a doorstep. I get it. It's easy. Uh-huh. And maybe you've broken your leg or you're not able-bodied and you can't go out and get it and no judgment. But I'm judging the people that you could literally walk down the street and go to that local home hardware and pick up whatever in the world, garbage bags, I don't know. Oh my God,
Yeah,
Jen, my brain.
nails. I
And
know what you
yeah,
mean
thank you.
though.
Like garbage bags, nails, your water hose. Like go outside and interact with a human and buy something from someone that's paying the rent to be on that street that makes it more lively. Like stop ordering your shit from Amazon. I cannot. It infuriates me. Infuriates me. Anyway, I could go on about that forever because I do remember like having a brick and mortar and it's everyone that you interact with, they just become a part of the tapestry of your life, of the city. You just feel more connected. And I didn't necessarily have to know your name, but I could tell you who worked at the bridgehead next door because I was over there all the time. I would be across the street shopping at Victoire. I'd go get my flowers at Bloomin' or Bloomfields. And it's like all those little interactions, and they make such a difference because every dollar you put there enables them to stay open. And then I'd even get to know the people that would walk by to get their coffee that maybe never came into my studio because they didn't want to spin, but that's okay. But they would wave and all those tables up front. And anyway, I know we use the weather, and the weather is a deterrent from being outside and shopping and walking there. I get that. But you know what? In Ottawa, sure, we have really cold weather for a few months, but for most of the year, it's pretty easy to be outside. Just go out and see people and stop ordering your coffee beans from Amazon. Jesus.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
like they say that the new epidemic, I think is the word, is loneliness, right? But like I was yesterday at Little Victories and by mistake who I was meeting went to the other Little Victories on Queen and I wasn't the one in the glebe. And I didn't really realize she was late because um, I was chatting with someone that I just bumped into there, and she was with her son, and she was just saying like, "Oh, I just love coming here. It makes me feel like I'm in Montreal," and and we were talking about that same thing, that sense of community, and but she was saying Ottawa is so much more family friendly. It's such a better place to raise a family, right? And we rate really high in quality of life, but we could be a part of making this quality of life even better, right? Like when I first came here, I thought, oh my God, this city shuts down at 6. What is this? Like, and I used to think this city is boring. But now I realize that the boring one was me, Like, I wasn't getting out there enough. I wasn't going to the right places. I wasn't cycling to this beautiful sunset that you can watch from like different places in Ottawa, right? Like, it's like the world is your oyster. Like, Ottawa is out there ready for us. We just have to put that effort. Like, have you been to the River House
Which one?
near Rockcliffe, the NCC?
Is it one of the, what do you call it? Like it's like a restaurant, but they're named something.
It's
I don't know.
it's like a big structure. It used to be like a boathouse. I think it's called the River House, but it has this like pool within the river.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take you in the summer.
Yeah, I think I've seen it, and you swim there, right? Like people are swimming
Yeah.
there. Yes, I've seen it on social media. I have not
Yeah, yeah.
been,
Yeah.
but
It's
yes,
so
let's go.
cool. It's so cool. And you bring your food and your snacks and like a picnic style, so it's like we need, and it takes time. I bring my girls, and coming with the girls is like you add an extra hour to it, right? But it's just like they get so much joy out of it, and I want them to feel like they don't need to leave the city to have fun, right? Yes,
Yeah,
it's nice to go out and explore a different country and all that, but you don't, it's not because you need to, it's because you want to, right?
yeah.
Like, Ottawa has so much to offer, and I think we need to just change that chip in our heads, right?
Totally agree. I thought I was going to move here and find it boring as well. And I mean, joke's on me. I stayed. I was the same as you. I was like, oh, I'm going to go back home to Newfoundland. But I just fell in love. And I remember being like, oh, there's beaches. Like, I get it. Maybe sometimes you won't go into the water depending on the testing that day. But like, I just remember like there's people out barbecuing, like on these beaches with like, it's so beautiful. It makes me feel like I'm somewhere else. And you're so right. If you don't hop on your bike or walk over there and see it, you don't even know it's there. And then you're missing that connection with people even if you don't know them, even if you don't even talk to them, just sitting around other humans, I think fills our souls up. Like when you think of Paris and all those people sitting outside reading and I don't know if you've gone, but like when I've gone, I sit outside too and I'm either chatting with whoever's with me or there's like I've brought a book or something. And it's not because I'm meeting all of these Parisians. I don't even speak the same language. I just feel like I'm a part of something. I'm not so alone in
Yeah.
this world, which is
Yeah.
also why I wanted to start a podcast because I'm like, we are a part of something bigger. And yeah, I'm not in real estate and I don't see the world like you do, but I'm a part of it. And like, I want to see it through your eyes for a little bit. And I want other people to hear it and hear how you see it. Cause yeah, I think we are such a lonely, population. We're such a lonely little world right now. And like, I hope that switches. I hope people start to go back to when they walk down to the cobbler and like get their shoes fixed and grab a coffee on
Yeah.
the way and say hello. I was at my friend Kim. We have a shared friend Kim, and there was this
She's
networking thing.
awesome.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed. And like the kindest, most generous human. But anyway, and I met Kim through my business. Like I wouldn't have known her. Anyway, all that to say, she was like, "Do you want to go to this networking thing?" And I'm like, "No," because I do. I want to meet other people, but I can also get very like stuck in my head and I'm trying to be more flexible this year. And she was like, "I got you a ticket, you're coming." I'm like, "Bless you." And because of that, I sat at this dinner table across from this guy and I'm like, "I know you." And he's actually in real estate, funny enough. And I'm like, "I know you." And he's like, "I know, you look very familiar." And I'm like, "I didn't buy a property from you or rent." Because I was thinking like, did I look at a location for my business from him? And then I'm like, wait a minute, did you go to Wheelhouse? And he's like, yes, but like forever ago. I'm like, I remember you. And anyway, so we got to chatting and he went like, what, right when we opened our doors. And he's like, how do you remember that? It was like 11 years ago. And I'm like, Mitch, every single person that walked in that door meant everything to me because you let my dreams come true. Like you gifted me a beautiful experience that like 16-year-old Nadine dreamt about. And I'll never forget you. Like all of those faces. I may not remember your name, but I remember these faces. And some of them now I see out and about in different, we've all changed. It's been 12 years or whatever now. But it's so nice to have those connections with them still. And I just feel, I don't know, like you're not so alone in this.
Yeah.
Okay, Good Story. I love the name. It's so beautiful. Good Story is a real estate company.
Yeah. We're a team within Remax Hallmark.
Okay. How many people
A
are
lot
on
of
the
people
team?
think We're six,
Okay.
6 agents and two staff. Six or seven, seven
And sorry, I cut you
with
off.
me.
A lot of people think what?
A lot of people think that we are a brokerage, but we actually aren't. Like we are pretty much powered by the biggest brokerage in Remax in the world, and there's such an amazing support. Like we wouldn't be able to do the business the way we do it if they didn't have such a good handle on everything else. So we don't have to worry about it, right?
Okay. So you started Good Company. It's your baby with your husband, or it's like
With my
yours.
husband, yeah.
Okay. How did you find the right people? Because you have a real ethos. Like you have real values, a real mission of what you want to do. How do you make sure the team fits that?
Yeah, that's not easy. I'll tell you something. Someone in my team was saying the other day because we went on a retreat to Mont Tremblant together, and we were just chatting, and he said something like, "I think it's this is the best reiteration of a team that we've had." So it's like we've gone through certain people that come go etc. We don't have that much turnover with agents, to be honest. We're very cautious of who we bring. I need to make sure, and everyone in my team needs to make sure that whoever is coming in as an agent to our team is able to be honest with that client and say, I don't think you should buy this house, even if they love it.
Wait a minute. When
Yeah.
would you say, Nadine, I don't think you should buy this house?
I don't think this house will appreciate. I think if you buy this house for what it's going for and what, there's a multiple offer, you're going to be stuck here for 10, 15 years. And a lot of things can happen in 10, 15 years. Or if there's like, something wrong with the home, and they're like, "Oh, I can fix it. It's gonna," you're like, "No, this is gonna be a $50,000 money pit." Like, so you have like agents in my team will never lose their integrity for a sale. And I'm big on integrity. I think integrity is something that you either have or you don't. It's not like, oh, I have integrity when it comes to this part of my life, but not in this. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. You either have it or you don't, right? And everyone in my team is super high integrity, which is really hard to find. People ask, oh, are you hiring? And right now we actually need two more agents, but we're not necessarily out there trying to hire anyone. We want to hire the right people with the right work ethic, passion for what they do, because this is not an easy career.
Yeah.
It's very sacrificing. You can ask all the spouses of our agents, like you get calls, you're dealing with offers. Guess what? You have to, right? Like you got to step out from dinner and be like, I'm dealing with an offer, and like we've learned through time to have a little bit of boundaries within our career, and because it's so so meshed together. But when it comes to an offer, like me not answering might make someone lose an offer, right? So when it comes to an offer, you have to be on all the time,
You,
and that's not easy.
can you ever actually take a vacation?
We do now. When I used to take vacations when I was a solo agent, it was so funny because Nadine, to this day, every time I go on holidays, I get a call of someone that wants to sell a house or do something,
Of course you
and
do.
I'm like, if things are slow, I just have to go on holiday pretty much.
Yeah.
But now I have an awesome team, and we try to do events every year to put our community together. Most of our clients are referred, so they know each other and they're very similar. A lot of our clients are very similar in how they appreciate quality, how they value experiences, and the way that they're living life, right? And so we do events and they get to know each other. The people that have referred each other already know each other. We have my favorite one is a photo shoot we've been doing for a couple of years now during the holidays. And it's a portrait of their family. And we have a full day of just photo shoot and families come in and take their photos. We have charcuterie, food, etc., and music, and it's such a fun time. And like everyone gets to know each other and make new friends within our community, right? So it's I think I lost my train of thought of what I was saying, but what I was trying to say is just everyone gets along so well too, right?
And now when you can take a vacation, you have a team in place to help you so you don't have to sit. Yeah, okay. Because it does seem like a very consuming job. Like when we were younger, when we were in our 20s, my best friend dated a real estate agent, and yeah, I remember her being like, it's tough as the partner of this person. Like I don't think he ever turned off, but I get it. He was young. He was like, I'm not going to miss an opportunity. Like everything I don't answer is is an opportunity lost to me. And I'm like, right, you have to have that drive, I think, to go into that career.
Yeah, and for Leo and I, because we're both in it, I dragged him into it. It's a little bit easier, and you know, I take the lead at home sometimes, and he takes the lead at the office if we need to split, right?
Mm,
If my child is sick at home, okay, I'll take on all that, right? Like if I worked a different job, he wouldn't be able to take my slack, right?
right.
So it has benefits and weaknesses, I guess, being in the same industry. But you know, because clients know our agents, they're okay, and they sometimes certain sometimes certain clients of mine will even continue working with Shadi. So maybe I was pregnant, they started working with Shadi, or with Tony, you know, and then they keep on working. For us, it's so collaborative, and we just want the best for the client. If I'm
Mm,
not the best agent for that person, or if that person now feels better with Shadi or whatnot, like, or the relationship just grew more because now I'm at a different stage or whatnot, like, that's okay. You know, like we just want to make sure that our clients are taken care of and that they feel good and they know we have their back.
what is your favorite part of your job?
The people. We
No.
get to work with amazing people from different paths of life, and just adding value to them is just very special, you know?
What's your least favorite?
Oh, I think my least favorite is just the roller coaster, right? It's such a roller coaster, and like you're super busy, you can't keep up, and then there's times where it's really slow. And you know, 2023 was a really slow year for us. We knew it wasn't a good year for our clients to sell, even though they a lot of them were like desperate to sell. They're like, oh my god, this, I can't keep up with the interest rates, right? But we knew that that wasn't going to stay up there forever, right? Like real estate, just like the interest rates are cyclical, and you know, them selling then meant leaving money on the table. So we went through the motions. We got their homes ready. We invested in all the marketing, and we had it ready to go if they were at a point where they're like, let's get this on. Like, we need to sell this house. But we were hoping that they would stretch that sale process, and many did, and they did really well by selling later. And that's something that, you know, it's so hard to say to someone when you're self-employed, hey, don't sell this year, let's wait for next year, you know. That means I'm going to be spending money and getting your house ready, but I'm not making any money until you sell, right? So again, it comes back to, 2023 was a test on our values, and that's how I said to the team, we're going to be tested this year because, you know, it's going to be a hard year. We even sold one of our properties. I told Leo, I think we need to sell a property to float us through this year. And it did. It floated us through the year. We never, you know, one of the beauties about being an investor before a realtor is that you have something that backs you up. You see, I don't need you to buy that house to feed my family and be okay, you know, like I have real estate that supports me, and I'll be okay even if you don't buy that house. You know what I mean? Versus when you're very desperate to make a sale and you're just about the sale, I think people feel it, and that pushes people away from agents, right? Versus when you
Agree.
become an advisor and you give them the advice they need to hear, not the one you want to say or benefits you, people are like, wow, she advised me not to sell. Like, what kind of an agent are you? Or, wow, he told me, why don't you keep this house and we buy the other one with the equity and you rent this one out? Like, it's like, what kind of agent are you, right? But it's an agent that wants to be your agent for life, wants to see you grow through real estate, you know, like wants to make sure that when you look back in your journey in real estate, you're like, wow, look at where I am now. Look at where real estate put me, right?
Mm,
And and I think that as agents, our entire industry needs to really get to know and be very confident of the offering that we offer. Because if we do really good at offering advice and getting to know our clients and listening and measuring their tolerance to risk, you can really set that person up for a really good life, right? Where they can pay their kids education, take many holidays, build their dream home, like retire sooner. Like, it's not just numbers, right? It's what does getting a little bit more for that house get you in terms of life, right? What does buying that house for a little bit less than what they're asking could get you, right? So you have a lot of responsibility in your hands as agents, and we're very conscious of that, and we feel honored to help our clients through those journeys.
so beautiful. Does your brother still work with you?
My brother it manages our family real estate, and he's a mortgage broker actually. So
Oh,
we work here
perfect.
and there together.
Yeah.
But honestly, we work with other banks too. What I love about Adolfo, he's my brother, is that he's very honest, and he'll be the first one to say, you know what, just go see this person at the bank because they'll give you the best option, even though
Mm,
it means that for him that's not business, right? He's really good at setting people up before they can afford. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We gotta make sure we pay these things on time and get your credit up and all these. So then, when he presents it to the bank when they're ready and they've saved that down payment, they are like beautiful in paper as well, right? So and because he has that investor lens, he's also able to advise accordingly with that too. So no, he's really good. And it's so funny because our own real estate transactions, when we're funding something or whatnot, he'll advise us and tell us go to that bank. Like it's crazy, like
mm.
what, like. But yeah, he's awesome.
Best for each other. What do your parents think of this?
Oh, I think they're really proud. Like my dad was really hard with us growing up, and he just thinks like it paid off to be hard with you guys. Sometimes I'm like, you could have been less hard,
Gone
but
swimming
I
with
think
my
they're
friends,
proud.
Dad. I could have gone to play tennis with my friends and swimming, but you didn't have to get me up at 3 a.m. But he's like, yeah, I did, Jen.
Yeah,
Look at you now.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And it's hard, right? Like obviously, life, everything is a trade off. I missed out on things, but I wouldn't be here without those things. So I'm
yeah.
really grateful.
Okay, I have a couple more questions before I let you go back to work. Is there anything when you look back between Jen just first coming here for studying for school and now that has most surprised you about yourself?
Uh, I think I've changed a lot as a human, like not in my core, but what I value in life, and just I value more experiences now. Um, uh, I think that we're so powerful and the mind is so strong. So when I had my daughter, I'm going so far to get to my answer, but when I had my first daughter, clients of ours had said, "You guys, the level of service you offer is incredible. Like you should be in high end." And when I had my daughter, I knew that my time was very limited if I wanted to spend time with her and all that. And I said, "Okay, we're gonna take this advice and try to get more into high end." And I'm not from here. I had lost a high end listing earlier in my career, like 2013, to an agent that does mainly high end. Because I didn't have enough experience, I wasn't from here. I didn't have enough years in the business. They felt my network wasn't big enough. And to this day, that person refers me business. So they regretted not going with us. And that experience and having my daughter made me realize, people, we live in such a noisy world, right? There's a lot of agents, there's a lot of everything nowadays, right? Any career you're in, there's many. It's really hard to stand out. But people are there hoping that you exist as well, right? And I put myself out there and I work on a plan on trying to, get higher end properties just to be able to work with less people that year, and spend more time with my daughter. And we got to the point where people thought we were only doing high end because we accomplished getting into that high end market. Um, and that's when we knew we needed to rename ourselves and we needed help. And that's when we approached Godspeed to help us, and we became Good Story because we were Real Estate and Co. and we had a little sister company called Lifestyle Homes Ottawa, which only did high end, and it highlighted the lifestyle that that home offered, right? And to be honest, every part of our journey has taught us something because that experience really shaped how we position homes, no matter what price point they're in. They're more than four walls and a roof.
Yeah.
They offer a certain lifestyle, a certain walkability, a certain, amenity, right? And you have to use all that to help people realize, oh, this is the home I should be buying, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was probably something that I was like, wow, I can't believe I was able to, because I felt so bummed when I lost that listing. It was one of my best friends that had designed it, and they ended up going with someone else. And my friend is a designer and he had done such a great job. It had gotten a lot of accolades and awards because it was such a cool kitchen. And when they listed it, they didn't even mention his name. And I'm like, oh my God, like he's an, up and coming designer. Like he's going to be the best in the city and he's incredible. Like he's doing so well now. But like I was just so bummed out that I lost that listing, that I couldn't help them sell it, that, the way they sold it, left money on the table, didn't give any praise to my friend who could have helped them sell it better, because this was not just a home that was renovated by the owner and it ended up being cool. It's like it had a lot of thought into it and all this. And when we list a property that has been renovated or done by a designer or a firm or an architect, we want to bring that up in the marketing so that we can create even more value, right? And it's a win-win because it's different when I talk about you than when you talk about yourself,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I'm an
Absolutely.
architect. I built this home. Like, no, this architect is one of the best in the city. They did this home with, to passive standards, nothing like it. The furnace is this small, like all these features that make the home special and make someone want to be like, I want that home to be mine, right? So, anyways, I learned a lot through that loss, but I think it also put a fire in my butt. I went to Harvard to take negotiations because I never wanted to lose a listing without me doing the best, right, that I could. And I never wanted to lose out on a purchase for a client because I wasn't the best that I could be. So we always take negotiation courses as a team and all that. Like I really push my team to do them as well because I think it's one of the biggest things that we add as value to consumers. And they don't see that until it's in action and until you're at the end trying to sell that house, right?
Because buying a house is so, it's like you're so vulnerable, especially when you really want it and you want to live there and you've built the story around your life in that place. And especially for like we came from Villa to Hintonburg, and I remember David's like, I just want to walk for coffee. Like I want to have a place where it's local and we go and like we recognize the people there, we recognize the people that work there. I just want to be, and it was him that pushed us to move to this area. He's like, I want to have a sense of belonging more than we did over there, which, and that was a beautiful street for different reasons. And I'm like, right. And so if I think of like, if, I mean, he had already, he knew what he wanted. But if I had your voice in my head to be like, here's the story about why you live here. And then to think about building that up and wanting it so bad and then losing it in a negotiation because the person wasn't really sure of how to make sure, yeah, we got the home or even set us up to say like other people want this. It like just to temper your expectations too, because it's
Yeah,
so you feel like I know you'll find the right place to live. I have it. That's just how I think the world works. Like we're meant to get where we're going to get, but it's like you really do
absolutely.
build up that dream, and then to lose it, it's so hard. It's so hard.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
that's why COVID was really hard for that reason, right? Because houses were going for numbers that, people are stuck in those houses if they don't sell it at a loss, right? And we always wanted to make sure we position our clients very strategically, and we always try to do inspections beforehand. So we would go in, they liked it, we would bring in our inspector, do the inspection, and then put an offer unconditional. But at
oh,
least you weren't going in risking all, right? Like, oh frig, there's a big problem with the foundation here. Are you willing to take that on? Or, then you gotta walk away, right? But at least I'm very and because I have designer friends, I become worse, but I'm always looking at the bad things in a house. And clients say, "Do you really want to sell me a house? You keep pointing the bad." I'm like, and I joke, and Leo hates me. He's like, "Here comes Jen with her analogy." I said, "My husband's not perfect and I'm married to him. I want you to look at the house and with these imperfections, be okay getting it,
still
right?
fall in love with it because there's always going to be trade-offs, always.
Always,
And no,
even when you're building.
I can't wait to tell you the house I want. I'm going to write them a letter. Does that work? Because I want to write
It could.
this this house a letter. It's not for sale, but I'm going to write them a letter. And I'm going to tell you which one so you can go scatter for me. Okay, one more question. So the people that bought during COVID, it was in like all the prices were inflated, right? Okay. Has enough time passed that it will even out if they sell now or no? Is it still, will they never recuperate?
It depends what they paid for. It depends what they paid for. It depends what kind of home it is. You see, real estate and anything you buy, really, right, is supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
So if you paid, say, 800,000 for a house, right? But then there was people that had bought that house for 300,000, 400,000. The time comes for them to sell it and they sell it at 700,000. Now your comparable is at 700,000. And guess what? There's 20 others that could sell at that price too. So why would someone come and pay 800 or more when there's other options,
Because at COVID, there wasn't
right?
that many options.
Correct. So people that are in that spot where their house is exactly the same as another 10, 20, 30, 40 in a development, it'd be really hard to justify for someone to pay you what you paid for, right? And it's case by case, of course. Now, if you're in a house that is very unique, very different, in Hindenburg, for example, typically no two houses are the same, right? Or identical, you could do the kitchen in a spectacular way that will help you bring the value up. I love buying homes that need work. And I
Mm.
love when my clients are open for homes that need work because you can buy it at a better price. You can do a project. And this is where it's so special the way we are doing our journeys with our clients. We stay around and we stick around from the moment they buy to the moment that they don't want us anymore, like they're retiring or whatnot and they don't want to own a house, they want to travel the world, whatever it is. But in between, there's a lot of things that have to do with real estate renovations, changing things, capital expenditures, etc. And we want our clients to know that we're here along the way because we're so invested into what we do, because we do it ourselves, we have contacts. We know what needs to be done for you to bring. Like if you're doing a reno, let's not just renovate a kitchen just for renovating it. Let's renovate it well, so that when you're
Mhm.
selling it, you get more for it, but also you get more enjoyment when you live in it, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
before we used to do that only for our sellers to try to get them to sell better, sell faster, and sell in a less stressful manner. Now we help our buyers when they're buying. Let's make this home something you love. And then when you're selling, it's already done and you've enjoyed it. Now you've gotten the benefit of the enjoyment through the time you've been in it and the benefit of force appreciating it and getting more money for it when you're selling.
So if I want to sell my house, David, don't worry, I'm not selling our house. But if I wanted to and I want to work with you, how does that work? What do you do?
So typically we have a discovery meeting and I get to know you and I ask a lot of things. You're going to think I'm very nosy. But I'm asking the things to really learn and see if one, do we really need to sell this house? Is there an option for you to keep it and buy something else?
Okay.
And then we'll chat about what it is that you're looking for. Once I know everything, it's like, big picture, risk tolerance, what the life of that person is like. You're able to advise them better. And we've been able to help clients, which is crazy, buy homes that they've never stepped foot on, right? And they're expensive homes too sometimes. And it the first time I did it was so nerve-wracking, but then I realized I get to know my clients so well, and we ask so many questions, and you're almost part of their brain almost to an
Hmm.
extent, right? When it comes to that. And we work with a lot of busy people, busy business owners, CEOs, etc., government people that are really busy, and they just don't even have time to even think of, like, I want to make this move, but I just don't even know where to start because I don't have the time to get started, right? And we'll go see the houses for them. We'll narrow them down, bring them to the ones they have to. And there's been times that clients have bought without looking at them.
Right. So it starts with you getting to know us really well, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and establishing trust.
you got that, buddy. Don't worry. I see you. How's Jen doing?
Jen's doing good. If you would have asked me this a couple of months ago, I would have said, like, I would have probably cried here. But I'm doing good. I started eating really healthy. I learned that I was sensitive to eggs and dairy, which is what I started my day with every day of my life. So I'm not eating those, and I'm feeling so much better. It's so important how we have to take care of ourselves. And as someone that is so giving, and many of us are, you always put everyone first, right? And, with my gym, for example, a client wants to meet. I'm like, can you meet next week? No, can we meet this week, please, Jen? I'm like, okay, there goes the gym, right? So again, it's like trying to set a little bit of boundaries for your own health, because you can only be as good as you are to others, right? And if you're not at your best, you're not going to be your best for them either. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a lot of energy. I'm taking iron pills to bring my iron up, so my energy levels are much higher. I don't know if you would have felt the same energy from me the day you met me if it weren't because I've
I
like taken
did.
steps to take care of myself.
Oh, thank you so much for taking time to chat and telling me all the
So
things about
thank
real estate
you.
and seeing the world through your eyes is it's just a really lovely experience. I love you. It's gonna be okay. We have to have coffee and dinner and all the things and go shopping and
And go to Denmark.
yes, please. Oh my God, organize that trip. Maybe I'll come as your like podcaster that will document the whole thing of like no, you'll be
And
like,
then we
she's
bring him
supposed to
back to Ottawa.
you're like, she's supposed to be working. Where is she? And like I'm just sitting in a cafe drinking wine in my new Danish clothing attire. You're like, you're
You'd be
fired.
in the roller coaster. Woo.
All right. Have a
Yeah.
beautiful day and I hope to see you very soon. And thank you, thank you, thank you. You're a real
Thank
treasure.
you.
This city is very lucky to have you.
Thank you. I feel lucky to be in this city. I really do. Thank you.